Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Above the Fold. This is episode 28, date 13th of December. Guys, 28 episodes.
I know.
So, we've got a big episode ahead of us today, so we'll do our best to get through it. This week, we're joined by a special guest, but we'll get to that in a second. This week's hot stories, of course, will include the ongoing issues with Cyberpunk. We'll touch on that. The Game Awards shows, the winners, the game reveals, the announcements, so much more to talk about. First, who's joining me? We got Nuns and Moses. Dude, welcome.
Hello. How are we doing?
Very good, thanks. And we've got Aro.
Hello. Sorry, real quick. Sheriff Fly just rated
just
us with a party of 10. Thank you so much, Sheriff Fly. Welcome. I didn't want to
thank you.
Got that, but just wanted to give a shout out to Sheriff and everybody else joined us as well. But yes.
Welcome. Well, you've joined at the best time because we have just started. So, of course, we have a very special guest. We have Mr. Jannison28 in the flesh. Dude, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much all for having me. This is awesome. I'm really excited.
Pleasure is ours. So we like to get to know our guests. You've said a couple of our previous episodes. So let's commence the interrogation, shall we? So tell us a little bit about yourself, dude. What's your background? What's your origin story?
So for those of you who don't know me, I know a lot of people in chat. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces. But for those of you who don't, hi, I'm Jake, or Jannison, Jan, whatever you want to call me. I'm an affiliated part-time streamer on Twitch, and I work full-time within the games industry, Redbeard Studios down in Brighton in the UK. Essentially, playing games is a huge part of my day-to-day generally, which is why Twitch is often quite a big, it's a very good home for me. And I also used to work in IT. I'm a big tech nerd. I love technology. I love building PCs. Built several in my time, high-end ones. So I'm a big nerd for technology. I'm also an avid American football fan. I used to be the captain for my university team. In Bournemouth, which is actually where I met the legendary Marzipan, who's in chat right now. So
same
me and
uni?
Ben go back to so me and Ben know each other from university and played American football together. Before he went off and did cheerleading.
It took me like a second. I was like, wait, did you just say what I said? What I think he said, like cheerleading? Okay, that's great. I like that. I remember that.
He's a smart man, Ben. He's a smart man. So, but yeah, so that's where I hailed from. I started streaming because of there's a good few reasons why. I suppose we'll get to that in a little bit. But my origin story is, I'm just a big nerd at heart. I work in the games industry, and Twitch is quite a good home for me because it's a gaming-focused website. So.
Fantastic. So everyone in chat, you heard it. If you have any computer problems, we go straight to Jannison28. All right.
Please do. I love technology. I love fixing it. Again, it used to be IT support, and my current job involves breaking things and trying to find a fix as well. So yeah.
So that's why we get along so well then. Holy shit, because that's exactly what I do at the moment, in a way. So,
really?
That's why playing Tarkov, building PCs, me and you, friends for life, buddy.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to dying and losing all my stuff with you in game.
In real life and in game, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So yeah, good stuff. I mean, you mentioned you're working in the industry, and I purposely waited to ask you about that because I've been watching your stream for a while now, and immediately I caught your stream and I was like, this dude's all right. He knows what he's doing. But then again, I thought the same about Marzipan. But look how he just entered our chat. Sorry, I'm in the toilet.
Right. I saw that.
He's a good guy. I like him. I like him. So yeah, how did you? I mean, obviously this isn't in our run of show. I wanted to ask you, how did you get from it's in a way it's a natural jump, but how do you get to the position you're in now in the games industry?
So getting into the industry was and has been probably one of the hardest things I've tried to do. Obviously I've managed to do it successfully, but I failed so many times at first. Getting into the games industry is hard. So if you like anyone in chat or anyone yourselves are looking to get into the games industry, it's difficult unless you get super lucky or are just insanely good at whatever your chosen field is. But I studied games development at university. My games course was games technology was the actual name of the course, and it focused on basically a broad overview of all of games. So modeling, like 3D modeling, 2D art, environment art, level design, animation, texturing, all this stuff, programming as well. Made a couple mobile games and everything as well. And that was kind of like not necessarily a requirement, but a lot of games jobs and games companies require you to say have a degree level or above education in a relevant subject as well. So you could do computer science, but it has to be a relevant subject. And then I left university with that degree and essentially tried for years. Bear in mind, I left the industry. I left uni I graduated 2017, and I got into the industry in 2019. So it might not be as long as some, but it's still long enough to the point where it's, I think I sent off about nearly 60 applications to different games companies. And most of them I didn't hear anything back, so not even like an initial interview. But I have been to a few interviews. I interviewed at Rockstar in London, Codemasters in the Midlands. I had a video interview for a company in Newcastle.
The best place.
A smaller games company in Newcastle. I've been to several interviews, all of which have been slightly different, and some have been a little odd. But the industry has been hard, and how I go from IT is I needed a job to tide me over. I needed something to pay the bills. So I got into IT, and when I got the chance to jump into the industry, I took a massive pay cut. I had to move my life to the Midlands, and I'm glad I did it because I'm in the position I am now because of that move. But it was a very, very difficult and bold decision at the time.
I think, a lot of people think, working in the games industry is a dream job, and for a lot of people it is. We've heard a lot about the gaming industry, the insides, the outsides of how it works, especially with crunch. What are your thoughts on crunch in particular? And let's aim that topic specifically to Cyberpunk, because that's a very sore topic for a lot of people right now, especially if they're playing on console. Have you had any experience with crunch at all?
So the games companies I've worked in haven't really done crunch. For Codemasters is another one I worked within, and the way that they do manage their QA is how companies manage their QA and generally other departments is very different depending on the company. Currently, I work for High Res, so Redbeard Games is my studio, but it's a subsidiary of High Res Studios. If I compare High Res to Cody's, Cody's is, don't get me wrong, Cody's is a great company to work for. Nowhere near as good, in my opinion, as High Res in terms of from an employee point of view. But in terms of crunch, I've never really had to do crunch. Whenever we have been, say, asked to do crunch, it's been can you do this? Yes, no. And you do have the ability to say no and turn it down. And if you do say yes, you will get compensated one way or another for that. And in my experience, crunch is something, I disagree with crunch massively. I think it sucks, especially for the developers who are having to sit through that. It's not a nice thing to have to endure. It is sometimes necessary, but often it is necessary from a lack of planning, maybe from a producer, like some the higher ups perhaps haven't planned this out properly, and that requires the developers, the not lower tier, but the guys who are doing the actual creating to work overtime. And what is annoying is that sometimes they do not get compensated for that. If you're asked,
we've definitely heard a lot about that in terms of Telltale and stuff, how they got cut off and there's no compensation. You're always hearing about it. It's more often than not, it's usually American companies, but we are hearing about it all over the world, unfortunately. So I want to talk more on crunch, but we'll talk more on that when we move on to the next segment with Cyberpunk. But we want to get to know you a little bit better first, Jannison.
Sure.
So I want to start really. What games did you grow up playing?
So games I grew up playing, when I was younger, growing up, the games that come to mind when I think of those times was Ratchet and Clank, that series.
Oh wow!
Oh, yeah,
Jak and Daxter.
Jak and Dexter, yeah.
The original Medal of Honor, so Medal of Honor, Allied Assault, first-person World War II shooters, Call of Duty, and even Mortal Kombat as well. Those are kind of the games that when I harken back to little Jake back in the days, those are the games that really think, I think of those games, I'm thinking, life was simpler then.
Yeah. You didn't know it then, but that was the best it was ever going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, those games definitely hold a kind of special place in my mind for back in the day.
In a way, it's for me also, especially in terms of Mortal Kombat. Like, I played that so much younger than I probably should have done. It was I think it was one of my first Super Nintendo games. It left an impression on me. I'm still playing Mortal Kombat to this day. So, what was your first console then? Was it Super Nintendo? Was it PlayStation?
So the first console I ever actually owned was actually a PlayStation 1. I was very close, and I did play all the Super Nintendo stuff because I was very close with my neighbors because basically I had neighbors either side of me that we were the same age, and it worked out that they would always get like the latest and greatest stuff, and obviously because I was friends with them, normally go around and play. So I remember playing like the very old Pokemon games on like ridiculously old consoles now with the little cartridges that you have to blow in to like going to play like Pokemon with that and everything like that. So I mean, the olden day consoles. The first console I ever owned was a PlayStation 1, but I've played pretty much all of them, like Sega Mega Drives and all this kind of stuff. So
good stuff.
But yeah, PlayStation 1's the first one I actually owned.
PlayStation 1. So I like this next question in particular, because we get an idea of you and your taste. So why do you think you're still playing video games to this day? Like, you're in the industry. What draws you in these games in particular?
So I mean, my favorite genre of game is RPGs. I play all sorts, but I'd say like the games that I fully get immersed and lost in is RPGs. And I kind of, the games industry is, again, it's part of my day-to-day. I work in the industry, so playing games for me is, I play it because my job is to find bugs, report them, and try and fix them. I'd say I'm fairly good at that. I like to think I'm fairly good at that. Maybe my colleagues would disagree. So I play games too. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even when I play games recreationally, I sit there and try and find bugs and reproduce them because I'm used to doing that at work. But why I'm still playing games today is, for me, it's massive escapism, especially with right now with the state of the world. I love games that I can get lost in because the world is not always the nicest place. So when I can get lost in a story, in a character, in a fight, in a battle, in a scenario, whatever, then that to me is like that's what I want to get out of that RPG that I'm playing. A good example is like Witcher 3, one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah,
like that game is incredible, and that offers and delivers a huge number of characters, a massive story. It's immersive. It's amazing in my opinion. So yeah, for me, I play games to get immersed and escapism, really. And the ability to be able to experience that is what draws me in. And it's what takes me to other games. You might start a new game you've not really heard of or seen, but there's the potential to be wowed by this. You don't know until you play it. So, yeah, there's
definitely a passion in your voice. I mean, you just have to say. I mean, you've said there's two key words you've said today, and that's Escape from Tarkov for none and Witcher 3 for me. So all we need to do now is say you're a massive fan of Street Fighter, and Femi will be in love. That's his jam right there.
We still have a long way to go with this show, so it's not too late. But just real quick though, because I know you mentioned that it's your job to obviously find bugs and whatnot, but from a casual point of view, like, do you find it like it's a curse at the same time? Because can you just play a game and not think about, oh my god, I can see those bugs? Like, do you find it hard to just not see it like that and just turn off that part of your brain and just play the game for what it is? Is it like...
Sometimes it honestly depends on the game and the state of the game. Like, one of the reasons why, again, and my chat, people who are my regulars will know, I haven't touched Cyberpunk yet. And as I was talking to you guys earlier, I've not touched Cyberpunk yet. And it's taking all of my willpower and then some to not start that game right now and play through it. I do think that because of the state of the game, everything I've heard, again, I guess we'll talk about this later, I think that would sully it for me, especially because, I would say that I like to think that if there's one tiny little pixel out of place, I can kind of, if I look at a scene long enough, I can spot it fairly quickly. if there's a big issue or a big bug, whether it be visual or technical or whatever, game breaking, then I'm like, oh, fuck. Of course I'm going to notice that. Of course I'm going to pick up on that. Like it does, I do pick up on things like that a lot easier. But I think because I've been in basically dev QA for nearly 2 years, and you play games very differently when you're trying to QA them compared to just playing them. I think I am slowly starting to gain the ability to block that out and just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
But it does depend on the game. Like, you know, Witcher 3 still has problems, but I'm able to enjoy that without a hitch.
It's a great question there, Femi, because bugs, glitches, they take you out of that immersion. And like you said, that's why we're playing those games. And anyone who follows me on Twitter knows I've been very vocal about my thoughts on Cyberpunk, and that's why probably a lot of people made the decision to stop playing it until it's fixed. And it's a shame, really, because we, like you said, the state of the world, we need escapism. I mean, we need books, we need films. You know, you need everything to just get through the day sometimes. And games is one of those mediums where we're all here, even in chat, we all play video games. We've managed to build a community for talking about video games, and it's a passion for everybody.
Yep.
But you go from playing games to streaming games. So why did you start streaming in particular? Like, what made you decide? When did you wake up one day and thought, you know what, I'm going to stream today? How did you get from A to B? Was Marzipan involved?
He wasn't. I actually didn't know. So I have to answer that one first. I actually didn't know he streamed until I think we went. Did we go down to Bournemouth or something for to basically like a catch up to meet everybody? And I think we had a conversation in Bournemouth, being like, "Oh, you stream? I stream." He was like, "You stream? I stream. You stream." Like, and then we kind of just went, and then went from there. It was a little bit, a little bit. But why I started streaming is actually to do with my degree. Obviously, I did my degree in video games, designing them. And in my final year, we had to do a final year project, so a dissertation. Now, we had a choice of doing a practical or a research. And the practical that I wanted to do was taken up by somebody else, and also it had kind of been done by however many other people. So finding something new and interesting to talk about within that subject was going to be a bit difficult. What I did realize is there wasn't really any papers that had been done before, at least at our uni, to do with live streaming game content for like entertainment or esports or whatever. So the document that you might be able to see in the background just up here, that is my dissertation of 17,000 words. And that was done on live streaming video game content for entertainment within the games industry. It's a title that rolls off the tongue, I know. It's a really interesting read. I would recommend it. But essentially, I kind of did a research project, but I also filtered in some practical elements. And I set up a YouTube channel and did a couple of test streams, and I got some test guinea pigs and made them watch certain like pre-recorded content and live content with different variables, and then made them fill out surveys after. And that involved me creating a channel and doing loads of artwork for it and all this kind of stuff. It's still very early days at this point. All the stuff I made was pretty trash, but it got the job done. And I researching into it and writing that report and going into all the technology and stuff. Again, I'm a massive tech nerd, so I was reading about all the up and capture cards and setups, the stream PC, game PC, all that stuff. And reading that and getting into that, I was like, damn, I could do this. Then I started getting into Twitch and kind of realizing, okay, these people do this for a job. Like, this is crazy. This is their full-time job. I want to try and do this. So I saved up for months and months and months, managed to get all the components and build my computer to be able to stream and game. And here we are 2 years later. So
I find that really fascinating. I've just seen Mr. Elite Assassin do welcome. He's just said, when's your book out? I mean, it's... I find what you do very, very interesting. I mean, you are living and breathing video games. Do you ever? I mean, we've probably all experienced this. You ever worn out from playing video games, like fatigued? I mean, we had Inner Punkness on previous episode, and he mentioned that there was a gap in his life where he just didn't play video games, and now obviously he's back, he's streaming. Have you ever experienced any kind of fatigue in that regard?
Recently, no. I think that for me, especially the last year when, we've been working from home for ages and everything like that. I mean, where I'm sitting, where you see me now, I sleep a foot away from where I stream. I work here. So I literally roll out of bed at 9:58 and I'm at work for 10. Like it's easy, but with that comes a cabin fever, and I'm literally spend my life in this room since March, which I'm sure that's the same as everybody, obviously locked down and everything. But in terms of fatigue right now, because I am fully immersed within the industry, within my job and everything like that, and I think it helps that the project we're working on, I really want to do well, and I really care about that, because I've not been, especially as QA, I've not been as close to a project as I have here. Because I've never had the opportunity to be as close to this. I've had real input, feedback, suggestions that have gone into the game and people have liked so far. And it's having that and being fully immersed in it. I wake up and I'm doing that. I then leave work and I'm streaming. Like, I don't ever really leave gaming. And I don't think because I ever look at the other side of not playing games as like, oh, I wish I was doing that. I'm like, cool, finish my job playing games. I'm going to go play some games. And the thing is as well, there's so many different variables, there's so many different games out there, there's so many different genres. You get a different experience. I mean, you go, for example, and play Street Fighter Arrow, and you sit there and have a few rounds of that, and then you're like, right, done with that, I want a bit more intense, a bit more challenge. You boot up some Escape from Tarkov. Very different.
Don't do that. Definitely don't do that. But I get the concept.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Yeah, you got what you were putting down there.
Like Street Fighter. Oh no, you lost my Tarkov, man. No. That's why I just check out completely.
We also we have a little inside joke. We call it Inventory Simulator. It's good old.
Yes, Tetris.
Tarkov.
Yes,
with guns.
There's a lot of people like Tetris, so
So, yeah, I mean, let's down that streaming topic. I want to know what was the first game you streamed, and obviously why did you pick that game?
So it's actually hard to remember. I think the very first game I ever streamed was Destiny 2. I Destiny 2 until Forsaken came out, and when I got Forsaken, I basically played through the base game campaign, and I don't think I streamed that because to me I was like, this is old content, no one's going to really want to watch this, like I'll just play through it, get a grip for the game, and then I'll go live. So I went through the base game content, and then when I got to the Forsaken campaign, I was like, right, there's that go live button. And I think that was my first ever stream. I got one of my good friends to basically come in the stream and be like, oh right, I sent him a $5, I sent him like some bits, or I basically was like, oh, buy some bits, and like here's some money to sub and stuff, just test my alerts for me, just do the things I want you to test. And I didn't realize at this point that when you're just a content creator, you're not really affiliated, you don't have a sub button. And you do cheers. So he's just sitting there with like £10, like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm like, just hold on to it, and then when I'm affiliated, like it might be a year or two, when I'm affiliated, just sub to me. He's like, yeah, no worries. So he literally, my first stream, he just came in, pushed a couple of buttons and did some things and made sure everything was working. He was like, right, yeah, I've got to go, so see you. So I was just like, cool, right, I'm live. So I was just there talking to myself playing Destiny 2 for a while. It was great. I had a great time.
So your mate earned pretty much, he earned a tenner just for a couple of minutes.
He earned a tenner, yeah, just to kind of, yeah.
That's brilliant. So now here's, yeah. I've got one more question for you. Now, this is a very, very important question. There is a right and a wrong answer, unfortunately. What character, what class did you pick in Destiny 2?
Oh, Hunter.
Oh, yes, brethren, yes.
Well, it's
me and you, buddy. I knew it.
Okay, no. That's a shame.
Yes.
I would have been happy with Titan, but I would have been over the moon for Warlock. But that's fine.
Look. He has that Hunter swag right now. You can tell. You can just see it. It's just oozing it.
Oh, okay. I'm one of them cloak words.
What's your excuse then, Arrow?
Can you move on, please? Thank you.
For fuck's sake! Right. Well, I'm known as a bit of a Destiny guy on this show. So, any chance to talk about it, I absolutely will. So I'm glad you mentioned Destiny. You've mentioned two of my favorite games of all time. So, I think we'll probably be seeing a lot more of you.
Oh, I hope so.
I think you seem to have very good taste in video games. So let's move on a little bit. I've just seen Sherry's message. Yes, my heart did break a little bit. You saw it live on Twitch. So There's another great question which we'd like to ask. What kind of games do you mentioned you like RPG video games. Is that the kind of genre you aim to stream? You're currently streaming Metro Last Light at the moment.
Metro Exodus.
Exodus, sorry. Last Light was second one, right?
Yeah, second one. Exodus is number 3.
Yeah. See, I've played that. I should know that. So what is it you look for in a video game to stream?
I wouldn't say there's a specific like checklist that I have when looking at a game, being like, oh right, this could be good to stream for this, and this. It's honestly like I'm one of those people that believe that if you're having fun with the game, then I mean the first way for your stream or your chat, your viewers to have fun is if you're having fun. If you're not having fun, then they're probably not having fun.
True that,
so I always look for a game, like I look at that and I'm thinking, okay, does this look interesting? Does this look unique? Does am I going to get some reactions that perhaps other people won't get elsewhere, sort of thing? And if we're talking about Metro, I'm a fan of the Metro universe. I haven't read any of the books. I've played the first game, and I've basically seen a lot of the second game. I haven't played the second one, but I've seen a lot of the second one. And I really like the Metro, like how that is, like I guess the universe, I guess you call it. I think it's really cool, and I remember playing the first Metro game again, probably when I was too young to, and I thought, this is great. This is atmospheric. This is, like really, what's the word, like small area. I can't think of the word.
Oh, linear.
It is linear, but like claustrophobic. It's like very claustrophobic and jump scaring, like. It's a scary atmospheric first-person shooter. I was like, this is cool, and I really like the design of the weapons and how you load them. You had like the little side thing, the little Mars bar type mag you put in the side.
Yeah. Yeah. And wasn't that called the Bastard or something?
It might have been. They had some funky names to them, but I remember playing the first game and loved it. And Exodus came out, and I was like, this game looks like it's taking some interesting steps. You've got open world areas. The story looks interesting because the story progresses in a big way.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I was like, I'll give this a go. What I wasn't expecting is how many jump scares and how many goddamn spiders they have in that game.
There's a fair bit. I remember that specifically.
Because I remember, and one of the most terrifying things is, I think in the last area I was in, we go down to a bunker, and this bunker is essentially overridden with giant scorpion spider things. And I had barely any ammo. I was terrified.
I remember that bit.
It was the worst, dude.
Yeah, I remember that bit.
But I wasn't expecting that jump scare, and I think I booted up the game within the first 5 minutes. I was already I'd already screamed and scared, like being scared like twice badly, like not even in a manly way either. Like it was bad, and I wasn't expecting to have those reactions from the game, and I thought that was great. Like I'm sitting there thinking, people in my chat know that I hate spiders. And there are so many in this goddamn game, so it's kind of fun.
Elite actually just posted something in the chat right now.
Yeah,
I think this is your reaction to one of the spiders.
Yeah, I would recommend you give it a watch. It's not nice. I hate it. But yeah, in terms of we're looking for a game to stream, is it fun? I also try. I do like to do like Arrow. One thing I noticed that you do often is every weekend you try and do, say, community games or play games with viewers, so Jackbox or whatever. Those games are really, really fun. When you get a good one of those, then you're going to have probably some of the best times you're ever going to have. Like, for example, I've had some amazing times in Among Us a good month or two ago, streaming with people I've met for the first time, and I'm streaming Among Us like with them. They're streaming as well, and it's like, I barely know you, but I'm having a great time with you. You seem like a cool dude or cool girl, and you're doing your thing, and you're sus as hell, but you seem really cool.
Arrow's definitely one of the sussiest. I mean, I think every time we get a chance to talk about video games, we always bring up the community, because that at the core of everything we do, that's why we're still here. Because I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
We've got, just to name a few, Herb Derp, we've got Holy Cannolis, we got, of course, Hargett's House of Fun. There's just so much community, so much love, and we do appreciate every single one of you. So thank you all for being here in chat. So a couple more questions, and we'll move on to the news, because we do have, we genuinely have a lot to talk about.
There's a fucking load.
So just real quick then, what's your personal top 3 games of all time?
Okay, I'll read these off very quick because I know what they are. So, Witcher 3, Horizon Zero Dawn, and The Saboteur.
Ooh,
The Saboteur. Wow.
Okay.
That's an
That's a
RPG
deep cut.
set in Nazi-occupied France. You play an Irish guy who's basically stranded there. He's the most Irishiest Irish person you'll ever hear. And it's a game that came out in 2009, quite old, little dated, but the music, the atmosphere, the story in that game is amazing. Again, they're all RPGs.
I remember that game.
Yeah, I'd recommend giving it a go because it'll be cheap now as well.
Didn't that game? Didn't it have like wasn't it like in black and white with some elements of red?
So they did some interesting stuff with color because as you went throughout the city and completed missions, did side content and whatever, the city when you first arrive is essentially black and white. And as you liberate areas, as you decrease Nazi I guess like pull in areas, it then opens up the color. So you liberate an area, it then colors up. And as you transition from a Nazi occupied to a liberated area, it goes from black to white or color respectively.
That is pretty cool. In fact, I forgot about that game because even now I've never played it, but I know exactly what game it is because of how striking, how memorable even the gameplay, just looking at it. But I mean, nobody's ever mentioned Saboteur yet, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But you said
it's a good one. That's I mean, I still remember when the credits rolled on that game because you have, I can't remember. I think is it Nina Turner? Like I'm Feeling Good is the song. It's like a cover of a song, and it is like you have this whole like fly through camera sequence of going through the rest of Paris, and if you have done loads of side content, it will all be color. But if you complete the game, as you're flying through, the areas that you haven't liberated will be black and white, and they will slowly fade to color through that last like camera sequence.
That's cool.
And it's a really nice little end to it was such a perfect ending, man. So good. If anyone in chat hasn't played it, I recommend The Saboteur, 100%.
Wow, I would say that's a deep cut for sure. I mean, it's just like it's a shame there's so many golden gems like that stuck on previous consoles because I don't even think that's on games backwards compatible with Xbox, but probably on PC. So definitely check it out, guys.
I think I've got it on GOG. So GOG, I think, is
good old games.
Best place, yeah, good old games. That's probably a good place to try and get it.
Good stuff. So we've got one more question. It's the last question. Now this was added by Aero.
Why do you have to say that?
Because it strays a little bit from the theme of the questions. And
fine, go on.
All right, here we go. So, Jannison, if you had 24 hours spent with any fictional character, who would it be?
I've asked this before anyway.
So I actually have before I answer, I have a question regarding that question. Do I
must answer now?
Do I get to choose the 24 hours that I'm with that character? So if I pick a character, can I choose what section of time I spend? Like what 24 hours I spend?
In the past, or you think in past or present?
Well, so my answer to this would be Ciri from The Witcher. And why I asked that question is because the 24 hours I wanted to spend with her is when she gets transported to the other dimension. Because in Witcher 3, we think it references cyberpunk, where they say, people have flying cars and metal in their skin. So I wanted to spend that 24 hours going through that dimension with Ciri.
That's two birds, one stone, because you're getting a bit of cyberpunk, you get a bit of Ciri.
Exactly.
Very, very clever. I like that. And I fucking said Kratos, didn't I? Like some kind of idiot.
You get a great gym session out of that. You'll come away knowing you'll get some muscles, dude.
I thought you well thought out answer. That was really good.
Very, very good.
I really like that. I really like that.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Oh, God.
So let's move on. I'm going to pass this over to Mr. Nuns. We've got some cyberpunk. We've had our impressions. We've had time to play it. Some of us, half the panel at least. So Nuns, take it away, buddy.
Yeah, well, there is a small game that's just recently come out. I don't know whether anybody's heard about it as of yet. I mean, it's still quite, the news hasn't broke yet. So, anyways, there's a game called Cyberpunk 2077 that just came out on the 10th. So this is a bit of a segment that I want to get. I mean, Scott, you've played it. I think it's just me and you who's played it so far. So I was going to get first impressions. There's a few little bits of updates, information about the bugs and how the game's done, basically.
And of course, no spoilers.
No, there's no spoilers. Just well, there's some hilarious, little hilarious video in there later on about the good old bugs that everybody's been having at the moment. So, anyways, Cyberpunk is actually the biggest PC launch in history, where previously WoW Shadowlands held the record for a few days, but since Cyberpunk, it is now taken over WoW. So at the moment, nothing is going right for the launch of Cyberpunk, but the sales couldn't be better. CD Projekt Red maintains an investor-focused account that has been sharing some stats about the game's launch, which is broken down, showing the open-world project has had the biggest launch day in gaming history, sailing over the recent high bar of 3.7 million set by World of Warcraft. So Cyberpunk is now 8.1 million they have had. So 59% of the 8 million is crazy. Which is 4.72 million copies of Cyberpunk for the PC, and 41% is console. So it's fairly even. It's not, console isn't too far behind PC. What's first of all, what's your first experience? Just a quick short first experience for you, Scott, booting up Cyberpunk.
My first experience was trying to maintain composure. This is a game I've waited for what, 8 years.
8 years, yeah.
And there's very few games out there where I feel like, yeah, this one is for me. And I felt like that for 8 years. And I took Thursday, Friday off work. I was ready to play it. I was playing it, and at the time I was in awe of everything. And then that's when the bugs and the glitch started to creep in, and it was starting to sour my experience. But saying that, the detail is there. It's quite obvious the game is not running in 4K. It runs pretty poorly. Anyone who hasn't,
You're playing on console, right? Or PC?
I'm playing it on Series X, so I've got the benefits from a high-powered console. It's from the report by Digital Foundry. It's the best place to play Cyberpunk on console.
Console, yes.
It's almost like I've seen pictures from the base Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, and it's like a different game. It's literally night and day. But then again, you look at the Series X version, you see it on PC, again, night and day differences. It's quite staggering that they released a game in that condition. It's a game that should have been given 6 months at least to fix. I mean, knowing Jannison's in that business, I can imagine you'd play that game and your head would explode.
So this is my take, and again, full disclosure, this is coming from someone who hasn't played the game on purpose yet. But I think that, again, Cyberpunk's been a game that everybody and their nan has been excited for. I know my nan's been so excited for it, I can't tell you. And
we'll get on the show next.
I'll give her your deets. And I think that playing it, especially given my job, it would ruin it for me. For sure. And I think especially given the circumstances of the release, they pushed it back, I think 3 times? Three times it was. But yeah, the fact that if they had to push it back that many times, it's released and it is still this bad. How bad was it when they were originally going to release it? Yeah. Like if it's this bad now, I mean,
That's not to mention the crunch involved. Now, I purposely waited to this segment because crunch it's not good for these people's health at all. And it from what I've read, it almost felt as though it was mandatory. People are working like 60 hours a week or something stupid like that, and it's honestly it's not healthy. And for them to come out with a result in the game being poor, they can't be feeling too great about themselves. I mean, even though it's not their fault, so I firmly believe, it's a failure of leadership because they haven't been able to manage the game and get out in time. Maybe the investors were fed up and they wanted their money back in time for Christmas because that's the best time to buy games.
Yeah.
Well, just a question, and I guess this one is for you, Jake, given that you do work in this space. Given that they pushed the game 3 times, and they've already planned this out over, I guess, a timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you, just your own, I guess, throw in the dark, where do you think went wrong in terms of like, do you think it's more poor time management? Do you think it's perhaps the pandemic, or do you think it's a combination of those two things? Because for the game to come out in this state, knowing how many times they pushed it, because I was of the option like, look, I would have wanted them to bring it out. At least we know that they brought it out. It's in this state, fine. But for them, it's not broken. But I guess people were hoping it would be more polished.
Yeah.
Just your own throw in the dark. Where do you think, I guess, what went wrong in terms of why this game came out the way it did?
I mean, there are so many variables as to what could be, and I mean, the games industry is a fairly small industry, but we don't know what happens behind each other's closed doors. Like, it's so hard to say. But I will say that a lot of the time, it is down to poor management, and I mean that as in like the planning wasn't down to a T. You know, it's like, oh, typically what we do in the industry is Scrum, if you know what that is at all.
Yeah.
Where you do sprints and everything.
Sprints and everything.
Yeah. So that kind of thing, that is like the minimum you need. And or if you don't have that, then you need something to replace that. You need some kind of structured methodology to get that work done in increments. And where I think this probably went wrong, I mean, the fact they pushed it back a couple times and it's still this state, I honestly think it will come down to probably poor planning and management of that plan. Maybe the plan, because again, there's a whole thing about, you know, you've got the scope, you've got the budget, and you've got your vision, or the you know, what you want it to be. And what happens to one will affect the other. You can't you know, change that triangle. That triangle's got to stay, you know, somewhat of a similar shape to some degree. Again, what happens to one will affect the others. You want it done quicker. You need more budget. You need more resources. So in my opinion, what it would have come down to is poor management of that plan. And the thing is, you know, it's CD Projekt Red. They've done this before. You know, Witcher 3 release, that was a fairly bug-filled, not catastrophe, but it had bugs, it had problems, it had issues. They stuck with it. They've patched it, and now it's still making them as much money now as it did on release yet. So I think it's a cornerstone with CDPR in that they will release a game. I mean, games always have issues. It's so hard it's almost near impossible to release a game without any issues whatsoever, especially one that this detailed, this in depth, and this complicated. You know, the scope of the project will be a factor into that. Absolutely.
Yeah. But that's the thing. That's where. So, and just to that, that's where I felt like I understand. Like, no game comes out perfectly, but if you're gonna keep prolonging it, you're only going to make it as a sign to people, let them know that, look, this game is going to come out flawlessly, because you're saying, okay, we need this time to get it to where we think our players would expect this product to come out in a very nice, glossed out, not you know, boobs clipping through shirts or you know, like,
you tell that was programmed into the game though. That was really programmed into the game just to kind of give it that extra edge above any other game.
So yeah, exactly. So I'm just it's a bit, I don't say sad, but just a little bit shocking that that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard the game compared to, and I don't necessarily agree with this comparison, but I've heard people call it Cyberpunk 76. I've heard it be called No Man's Punk.
Oh.
And I'm like, I don't. The thing that I disagree with the No Man's Sky reference is that No Man's Sky overpromised and underdelivered. That there is, it's a great game now, as I'm sure we'll get to later. But when it released, it was terrible, and they overpromised massively. This, I don't think necessarily underdelivers, but the issues and the state that it is in detracts from what they were trying to achieve. Absolutely.
I think the whole package is there. It's just it's not right. It's not sitting right on, especially the last gen consoles. It just doesn't want to. Well, it's not a very good experience on the last gen consoles.
Look.
So it's crazy. I mean, the game's there. It's got the content. It just needs fine tuning and just things to work across the board. Yeah, the promise on the last gen consoles, the promise that last gen we're up to on PC, this gen, they need to fix it. They need to kind of get these bugs in. Then again, when we're coming up with the hotfix, they have just released the hotfix. Bear in mind, they released the hotfix on the 12th or earlier for the PlayStation and PC, where I think, it was a 12th out just yesterday. It was just released for the Xbox, which has actually fixed a lot of bugs. Well, according to the release notes. I'll just run over a couple of notes. One big thing was, anybody hear about the epilepsy fix that they've had to bring in because of the controversial brain dance sequences, which featured red and white flashing lights that could cause players with epilepsy to have seizures, which there was no warning, so they fixed that, which says 1.404 update modifies the lighting effect to reduce the risk of inducing epileptic symptoms, reducing the flashing and sequence and magnitude. So
that is something that is, I mean, I would say I would put that onto their designers and QA for that. That is something that is so dangerous.
It is. I was going to say.
It's to the point where, like, I watched a few streamers maybe stream of bits and pieces, and when they were getting to a point, even any point of a brain dance, they said, right, fair warning, this is about to happen. If you've got any symptoms of this, just please look away, like all this stuff. The fact that the streamer or the content creator who's doing it has to do that, and there's no warning in the game. I could be, epileptic myself, go and just play it and get to that point and just start having a seat. Yeah. That's so bad. That is so bad. Like, they messed up so bad with that. And I'm glad they fixed it, but that should not have been a problem in the first place.
Sure.
Well, that's the thing. It was discovered by
It was discovered by a reporter, Leanna Rupert, and she works for Game Informer. And I mean, it's like if anyone who follows this person on Twitter, she's probably the most passionate person for Mass Effect, Dragon Age, and Cyberpunk, and of course for her to have a seizure for a game that she's been looking forward to for so long.
Did she have a seizure?
It was her reported because she had the seizure.
She had the seizure. Oh my god! So holy shit!
It was pretty poor, and obviously, they got in touch with her basically, and they worked together to sort this out. But how do you get this 8 years into development with her thinking, oh, maybe we should look at that? That looks like it might cause a seizure, because it's quite obvious that when you see these flashes, like, oh, that's a bit sharp, even from my eyes, like, because it flashes and it brings you to a massive white screen, and that's enough to hurt my eyes. But that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
just real quick. Sheriff Light just saying no flash warning is a loss waiting to happen. And Sheriff Light, you're 100% correct. I was thinking about the same thing. Like, anybody can just write down Clemens, look, I had a seizure from your game, and that could just open up a can of worms, So it's really, like you mentioned, Jake, like you rightly put, it's quite, I guess, the slip up there. So big one.
I mean, it goes from that sort of, well, that was the big fix. They should get that nailed. That shouldn't have came at the door. That shouldn't have left the factory. There is a couple of other fixes that has been fixed, but I mean, I'll go on to the more funnier side of things according to glitches, where it's not exactly game breaking. So the glitch currently getting the most attention on social media is rather not safe for work. So if you had guessed, it's from the headline of what I took this this bit of text from. It involves a game's genital options, but basically can't keep it in their pants. So if you choose to give your character a penis, it can clip outside their trousers and wiggle around a bit. Which
it happens to the best of us.
That is one of the best glitches going.
I thought that was just a fashion in 2077.
just one of them just left the fly down, so to show the world. I mean, I've only played I think 3 or 4 hours of the game. I haven't had a chance to get into it. I haven't really come across any game breaking bugs, but I've came across my pants going missing when I'm in the chair getting the first implant in the hand, etc. I did come across a when I was standing in front of the mirror and my jacket was missing. It's mainly clothes related bugs that I've came across so far. Bear in mind, I've only played I think 3 or 4 hours, which isn't much for what the game has to offer. Have you come across that again? Haven't you? As you mentioned before, Scott.
Game breaking bugs. No, I think they did a good job of ironing those out. I think that's why it got delayed, so they could iron those out. But there's so many. Like, the game's only did a hard crash on me once. But
so you've experienced what?
There's so many bugs. Like, I've experienced so much. Like, clothes, like you said, disappearing. I've had people get in a car, then fly up and disappear like they've been summoned. They've
What,
like
with the car?
this yeah, with the car. Or I saw there was one time when I was in a cutscene, but before that cutscene I called my car. So the car came to me in the cutscene and ran over everybody, but then they got up like nothing ever happened.
Luckily,
And it's lots of little bugs like that, like even like things not working. Your zoom is stuck whilst you're in a conversation, or if you crouch before a conversation, and you can't, so you stuck crouching, and you can't. If you press B to crouch you stand back up, you skip dialogue, so you look like a right idiot crouched next to a person. You're trying to have a conversation with them. A lot of little bugs, lots of texture bugs, things not loading in.
Yeah.
Nowhere near on the scale of what we've seen for the Xbox One, the OG consoles, PlayStation 4, the base consoles, but there's still been a lot. There's been enough bugs for me to put the game down and say, I'll play this when it's fixed.
So there's a couple of, I mean, I've got a link. I tell you what, I'm going to post the link of the full patch notes, the 1.04 patch notes in chat now, in case everyone wants to peruse over that at a later date. So I have picked up a couple more, which I thought was some rather noteworthy fixes. The streamer music. So they've also removed copyrighted songs present in the game's DMCA friendly and disable copyright music feature, which presented the streamer community with a huge issue of possibly being demonetized or having their content taken down following a DMCA strike. That is one big patch as well, which is fantastic that games are now starting to realize that 99%, well, not 99%, there's a lot more people out there who want to stream these sort of games. Like you think, I keep going back to GTA. GTA's got a massive radio station where really, if you stream that game, you're going to have to switch that radio station off, because that's just got so many DMCA strikes written all over that game. But then again, that was a fix. Am I thinking correctly? Was this not discussed earlier about, this is one of the things that was actually mentioned that they were going to implement in anyway, where how did that get passed, where they've actually came out and said that? Am I right in thinking that, Aaron? Because
no, I heard the same thing. I think I was thinking, wait, wasn't that part of the plan to have this feature? So
that is weird. How did that get passed? There's a lot of things that have just kind of skipped past quality. Where is the quality department? But then again, I do understand
CPR, like I'm experienced here. You can get in contact. I promise.
link in the chat in the description. I'll send
you my portfolio.
Hang on, ATF need to be Jannison's manager, agent or whatever,
Yeah, we'll
anyways,
represent you, buddy.
There's a couple more console-specific improvements. So there is improved reflections quality on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 to eliminate the smudge effects. I've seen a lot of smudge effects. It's just disgusting. It's going back to PS1 days. Fixed the Wasteland achievement being stuck on 97% after completing all relevant missions in the Badlands on Xbox. Fix an issue with missing PT BRVO for Xbox players in America, and there's one for PC specific fix which I've picked out. Switching language to default in game now correctly sets it to the language of your Steam client, which that's a bit of a weird one there, how it wouldn't pick up your default PC language.
I wouldn't say that's unusual, to be fair. I've seen it before in other games. Yeah.
Okay, it's unusual to me.
I think didn't Witcher have that same problem? I'm pretty sure Witcher had that same problem where...
Probably did.
Yeah. It sounds familiar.
We did have a few pictures. I mean, everybody, I didn't really want to show people's penises, like game penises, on stream.
We've got someone I wouldn't have shown. So we know exactly what's going on.
Hopefully, they will... I mean, I'll play a video in the background. I did forget to play that. I have muted the sound because, again, we always get...
Of course.
DMCA rejected on YouTube. But again, you can see there's cards clipping at each other. I did pick up one glitch, which it was pretty much you go out the restaurant when you pick up the first mission, and the guy is actually talking on two cell phones. He's got two. One's floating in midair, and he's actually talking on one, which was very, very weird. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I'm so glad that it's not technically. There's not There's no really game breaking bugs. Well, many I should say, but
yeah.
I quite like the funny bugs because you can always have a laugh at them.
I mean, yeah, funny bugs are, you can always, I mean, that's the thing with bugs. You can have a great time with them.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like they can just ruin everything. It's love hate. It's really, really is.
Yeah. You have a good laugh.
I never like bugs with Fallout 4 didn't bother me at all. They I found them funny, but I wasn't that invested into the story as I was with Cyberpunk. I think that's the difference for me personally.
Fair enough.
So
anyways, we've got to move on.
What we learned today is that Jannison should be in charge of their QA because he would sort this shit out overnight.
Sorry, before we actually do,
I'm down.
One more question for everyone. Given that they released this game on the last gen, so PS4 and Xbox, do you think that they probably stretched the game too wide to sort of cater to, and again also Stadia as well? Sorry, they also stretched Stadia too. So Stadia included. Do you think they stretched it too wide just to get as much revenue or as much player fan base as possible? Whereas if they just limited it to just the current, the new current Xbox One X, PS5, and then PC, perhaps it would have been launched at a much more polished state. We won't be seeing this type of bugs because for all we know, maybe expanding it to all of these different platforms might have created a bit more complexity in it and making it more challenging. So
well, for me,
I'm just wondering.
Sorry, for me quickly, I'll answer mine. I'm short and sweet as usual. No, because they promised it since day one. They've kind of they said they were going to come out with.
That's true.
I mean, it's been in the making for 8 years as well. I know.
That's true.
I'm not in the design world of gaming. I do understand it's really, really difficult to design and make a game. So I'm not kind of taking that away from them. Just 8 years, and they've mentioned it. They've said, "Hey, look, we're going out on PS4 and next gen consoles." If they couldn't achieve that, they should have took a look at it and went, "Hey, look, no, we're not going to release it on last gen. It just the console isn't powerful enough, or we're kind of focusing to next gen, that sort of thing." What are you going to say?
That's what concerns me. Is I've seen a lot of people say it's not powerful enough on an Xbox One, PlayStation 4, the Pro, the Xbox One X, and then you look at Red Dead Redemption 2. That's, I mean, I agree. Like CD Projekt Red, they were overly ambitious, potentially over ambitious, and I don't think they had enough manpower, or maybe probably not enough time to get these games on every platform. Because when it was announced on the current gen console, so we were expecting that they would be done. That would be their focus. I mean, right now PC is the way to go with that. But like they earned a lot of goodwill with a lot of people for the Witcher series. All the free updates, the expansions, they were phenomenal. Some of the best content I've ever played in my life has been tied to that studio. And they've transitioned to a third-person open-world game to a first-person shooter RPG. So it's not something they've ever done before. It's basically Deus Ex with cars, isn't it? So they're in the chart. It's new territory. It's a COVID year. There's only so much leeway you can give them, but when you see shit like epilepsy, that topic is a very sensitive topic, and the pretty much any goodwill that I had from them is pretty much gone. It's done its damage.
There's been a lot of damage. Yeah, there's a lot of bugs, etc. That epilepsy is the main thing. And I think we mentioned this earlier on as well, that they wanted it out before Christmas. They wanted it out before the sales, for one.
They wanted to make the most of the Christmas sales. Absolutely.
Exactly. They wanted to make out for all the presents that everybody's going to buy.
And they have. Yeah.
They have. It's the biggest game in history
It's going well for them time. Right now.
Yeah. I mean, even from pre-orders alone, they've earned back everything it cost to make and market that game in one day.
Yeah, exactly. exactly. So, do you think they could have? I mean, what would the downside would be leaving it till another 6 months down the line, or another 3 or 4 months, depending on how long it would take to fix them bugs? I don't think it would affect them a lot because pre-orders. Look at the pre-order sales. The pre-orders are through the roof. So
I'd be
for
interested to
me,
see
I
what
think it would
their
be best
take
if
is in
it
hindsight.
would be best for them to kind of hey look, step back, give it another. I know they would have got a bit of bad press behind it, a lot of backlash off pushing it back, but it would have helped them in the long run for me personally. But it's out. I mean, they are fixing it. The hot fix. There was a day one release, day one update. Sorry, and a couple of hot fixes. So they are constantly working on it and working on the fixes, which sort of should anyway, especially with some epileptic backlash on that epilepsy fix. But we'll see what time we'll do to this game, and fingers crossed I don't experience many more bugs. I mean, I haven't switched on my Xbox since. So.
I personally don't have any doubt that they will make the game as good as it deserves to be. Yeah. I think CDPR. They have my faith in the sense that they did the same thing with Witcher. They patch, fix, hotfix, whatever, expansion. They will get it to where it needs to be, but it just isn't quite there now.
Yeah.
I mean, Linus Tech Tips did run.
Back.
Yeah, Linus Tech Tips did run the game at 8K. A few hours before release day, before the patches and the hot fixes and stuff, which is amazing in itself. How this game is getting to being able to run it in 8K, never mind 4K and 1080p and stuff.
It's a different beast on the PC.
It is. You are right. You are right with the ray tracing, etc. But again, the game is capable of being the best game. This and next year.
Right, good stuff. So let's move on. So of course we had the Game Awards on Thursday. Our very own Jannison, of course, streamed it. We'll just quickly rattle off the winners. I've chose a few highlights. I would say pretty much everything I predicted didn't actually win anything. So goes to show what I know. So Last of Us, pretty much. They want the floor. Game of the year. Absolutely. Game of the year. Narrative. Game direction. That one bothers me a little bit because I don't think any company that we have to crunch should be getting any fucking award for game direction, because that is, like I said, that's a failure of leadership. You should not be getting awards when your employees have to go through crunch. But anyway. So they won an award for action adventure game, innovation in accessibility, which they definitely deserve that. Audio design. So Last of Us Part 2, they did very, very well.
As we said last week, we knew they were going to do really well. It's Last of Us at the end of the day, isn't it? Which is a fantastic game. Don't get me wrong. I've always wanted. It's one of the games that I really want. Well, neither have I, but just the amount of footage that I've seen and the amount of good reviews that it's had. That's one of the only reasons why I wanted to get a PS4 and I want to get a PS5 is because of that. That's one of the main games. So I kind of get why.
Most anticipated game. This was a shock.
Sigh, by the way,
I couldn't believe it.
Do we have the nominations so that we actually know what was in there again?
We do. So there was Halo Infinite, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, Resident Evil Village, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, and of course Elden Ring. Elden Ring won that game, that category, which
I can't believe that, dude. You're gonna put Horizon Forbidden West and God of War in there, and you're not gonna pick either of them.
I was thinking God of War.
From Software community are savage, man. They are the most passionate community you'll ever see. Visit their subreddit. You'll see what I mean.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't know too much about Elden Ring, and from what I have seen and the research I've done, it looks fine. It looks great. Like I'd mess with that game, sure. But I mean, for Horizon that's a personal one for me because Horizon Zero Dawn is one of my favorites, but the God of War sequel, like, dude, how?
That game's perfect.
I was really surprised with one of my surprises, not the like, oh my god, how you feeling right now, Jay, but like what Scott said, From Software, the community is super passionate. Like the amount of stuff they do with Dark Souls, like all of the mods they come out with, just it's like a cult, to be honest, at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They're writing their own stories in subreddit.
It's literally a cult. Yeah, sorry, go on. So yeah, I'm not completely surprised, but at the same time, I thought God of War would have it, or maybe Breath of the Wild 2, maybe. But I thought God of War would have it.
I think I would have said God of War. I mean, I'm looking forward to all of these games. Like, I mean, guys, this is a fantastic time to be a gamer right now. That award show was phenomenal. But Elden Ring, I mean, there's a lot of From Software fans, especially. And I mean, we pretty much built our community from Software initially, anyway, from Software video games. So, art direction, this one I agree with in a certain extent. I still think Ori should have won, but art direction was Ghost of Tsushima. Poor Ori and the Will of the Wisps should have won that, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. I'll get over it. Score, music, RPG, Final Fantasy VII Remake, multiplayer game, mobile game, Among Us, which they also announced a new map at the TGA. So
they won a few, didn't they? They won like 2 or 3, I think.
They two, multiplayer game and mobile game.
Yeah, right. I thought there were a couple more, but yeah, they deserve. I mean, that game took off. That game is still good. What an awesome game!
Multiplayer game surprised me. Mobile game, I can like that without a doubt. Like, because the thing is, I've been able to play with friends who don't own a gaming PC. Like Among Us, in a group of them, where they've been using phones, and this is the first time I've spoken to these guys in over a year. So like. That mobile game, absolutely. I think that's great, especially because it's free to play on mobile as well. I think.
Yeah,
but multiplayer game, I was very surprised by.
For how cheap it is as well. I think it was only £5. I think. Not even that.
It's because I think it's because of how unique that game is and how involved you can be with other people. But that one I thought was quite interesting. Now my favorite award of the night was the No Man's Sky winning ongoing game. Sean Murray was on cam, and he was taking a sip out of his beer. He's like, well, that was a surprise. And like he was compared he was with Destiny and with Overwatch, no doubt. I can't remember the list, but we mentioned No Man's Sky previously when we were talking about Cyberpunk. That's a game that started off, you know, as Jannison mentioned, you know, it overpromised, under-delivered. Look where it is now. It's winning fucking awards. So hopefully we'll see Cyberpunk hopefully be at the same position that they are, because they have earned a lot of goodwill from that. And that's what it's about, well, having trust.
Wait, just real quick, on the ongoing game, the one that No Man's Sky won, did you say Fortnite was in that as well? What were
I would expect it would be, yeah.
I think, hang on, I'm pretty sure. Let me try and find it.
Let me see as well. Was it Shamori? Yeah. He was. I remember him drinking water or something, and he nearly spat it out when they called No Man's Sky.
I remember that.
He was like, "Are you guys sure about this? you want to check?"
Ongoing game was No Man's Sky, who won Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Call of Duty Warzone, and Fortnite. Those were the other ones.
I don't know how No Man's Sky should win that one, to be honest.
If you've not been keeping up, they release a lot of DLC, a lot of free DLC.
They are fixing a broken game. It's not support. It's doing what they fucked up in the first place.
No. They fixed that game with No Man's Sky Next. That's when they got their vision, and they have been adding stuff since. If you look at
compared to Fortnite
churning out.
Compared to Warzone?
Fortnite was exactly the same though. They released the game, then released another game on top of that free version, and that game was totally different of what it is today. So you can argue
Fortnite
that
originally was a horde mode, like
it was.
I think it was called Save the World or something.
Now.
Yeah.
They're doing concerts in the game. Like,
I'm
telling you, like, how?
I'm not going to speak about Fortnite much, but aren't they getting the Mandalorian as a character?
Yeah,
there's always something happening with Fortnite. Warzone, Fortnite, Destiny.
They've just spoiled Mandalorian.
You've got to think though, like Fortnite, I feel, isn't for in. I say that, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe not.
I don't play
Fortnite
Fortnite, guys. I don't play Fortnite. You know,
is. I don't know anyone who plays Fortnite,
Yeah,
but
neither do I.
I think that game is aimed for casual gamers, people who can give or take.
Do you think
not
casual?
who are not hardcore gamers.
Shit.
Like probably half the people who watch what's his name, Ninja, probably don't play anything other than Fortnite. I mean, I'm just guessing. I'm just spitballing here, but I would say that game is catered for the casuals. I could be wrong. I could be talking absolute bull, but that's my view from my side of the fence. And I think No Man's Sky.
Professional tournaments as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortnite's a tricky one because I think it's fairly casual friendly, but you do get like, I mean, the last time I played Fortnite was, I can't actually remember. It must have been like over 2 years ago, maybe. I can't remember, but I remember sniping someone and missing because I can't freaking aim. And they build like a mansion in 2 seconds flat, and I'm just like, what is this? They've got all the sweaty keybinds and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just there like, well, I just wanted to have fun. I don't really like.
What's crazy, man?
I'll just climb to the top of a mountain. You know, that's my building technique. I'll build up a mountain and then be at the top. Then they'll just build it even higher. Like, brilliant. I'll just go.
So crazy. Me and Nuns, we went to LA to a couple of years ago. Went to E3, and that's when they announced they was come to Switch. So I was in the hotel room downloading Fortnite. I jumped in. And I genuinely, it was a senior moment. I had no idea what I was doing. People were running. It was a bizarre experience. And then I died, but I don't know how I died. And that was it. Deleted it. Never went back. And I just figured it's fine. It's not for me. I don't need that. But I mean, I understand where you're coming from. They are doing a lot community stuff. I mean, there's plenty of awards out there to maybe cater to their specific strengths. They're keeping they're doing something that not many games have done before, like you mentioned, Arrow, with the the live show stuff. That's very cool. Did they? I don't think they won anything at the awards, did they?
I
don't recall seeing them.
No, I didn't.
What, Fortnite?
Yeah.
I don't think they actually won anything. I will need to double check, but
I don't remember. But like the list, I'd say if anything, it was close because they're all banging games. They've all supported their games. They still support their games, and
or just shocking. That's all. It's just shocking. I get what you're saying.
I'm surprised you spoke this long about Fortnite, to be honest.
Moving on.
That's fine. But yes, let's move on to the good stuff. So, Game Awards, I watch it every year. It's one of my favorite times of the year. It's like fucking Christmas before Christmas, and this year was probably one of the best. So we'll start off with one of my favorite franchises, and that is Mass Effect. They showed off the next Mass Effect. So if you just give you an idea of how I reacted to that, I probably squealed like a 6-year-old girl when I saw that. I did a little dance, the usual trailer stuff right now, and Mass Effect is my fucking jam. So the trailer, it was a surprise. Nobody expected to see the next Mass Effect.
No, I was actually very surprised.
No.
It's still in the early stages. It was a very revealing teaser. So we obviously we've got no audio for this right now, but we heard radio messages from Earth, audio clips from the original Mass Effect trilogy, which is telling. We see wreckage of Mass Effect relays. So anyone who's played Mass Effect, they know what that is. That's how people jump between systems, and they were destroyed during the Reaper War. But we will then you'll see like a nice planet. A figure reaches out and they pulls out a familiar-looking shard of N7 armor. N7 armor is the elite force, pretty much Commander Shepard, his team. And I geeked the fuck out when I saw that. It was.
I remember. No,
go for it.
I was just gonna say I was in Jannison's stream because he was streaming it as well. I think you were like that pretty much.
So my jaw dropped, and this is the thing. I had such a roller coaster of emotions when that came up because I was like, Mass Effect is one, like, I spent so much time in Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, like a crazy amount of time in both those games. The thing is with that is it worries me, because am I excited there's a new Mass Effect? Absolutely yes, 1000% I'm excited. But the original BioWare that made the original Mass Effect games so great, I don't think are really there. The original BioWare that I know and love isn't really there anymore.
No.
So the thing with me is like, oh my god, they're making another Mass Effect. Oh, it's by BioWare though. Like that was me. I was like,
hit.
oh. And the thing is as well, it's the same with Dragon Age. Like, until this is going to be a game that I'm going to want to buy day one. As soon as I can pre-order, I'm going to. But because it's BioWare, I'm going to not do that until it's out and I can see it in reviews and everything.
Yeah.
Because again, it's BioWare. I have completely lost faith in BioWare as a developer. And until they prove to me that they are capable of doing something decent, then I will be invested. Now, am I excited? Yes, but I'm going to wait until my purchase. Until I'm going to wait to review and see some footage and gameplay before I purchase.
So
for sure.
You mentioned faith, good faith, and like I said, that's a very integral part of a franchise's health, and they've lost a lot of that faith, and I hope they realise that after the wreck that was Andromeda. Now, I still stand by what I said about that game. It's not a great game. It's not a bad game. It's just a bad Mass Effect game. And that's how I feel on that. Now, I was trying to find the article. There are some OG BioWare employees which have returned to BioWare to work on this game, and I'll try and find the link later. In fact, I've just found it. I'll link it to you. Of course, I'm trepidatious. The Anthem was a train wreck, absolute fucking train wreck.
That is a perfect example of how not to do a game.
Yeah. Bad management
like,
taken
whenever
over.
you look at complete train wrecks, I think Fallout 76, Anthem, Andromeda, as you said, I think it was a good game. It's a bad Mass Effect game.
Yeah.
And I think there was certain things, like maybe their writing team was, specifically for Andromeda, was maybe a little junior, because having
the
lines
B
like,
team, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, having lines like "my face is tired," like, who the freaking hell wrote that? What are you thinking?
Tired? Oh my god! That's
like
great. Quality,
overworked.
quality writing there.
During crunch, say some weird shit.
I'd like to think that writer was like, I am actually so exhausted, I'm going to put this in to spite the execs. And if so, fair play. Like, hats off to you.
Yeah.
But it didn't come off that way. I don't think it came off the way you expected.
No, that was a bit of a bit of a shock, a bit of a shame, really, that the franchise. I mean, I'm still living up in the hype, because we saw a figure which I think is Liara. There's some figures in the distance. We saw like a Solarian, we saw a Krogan, which a lot of people speculate maybe it's a direct sequel to the Shepard trilogy. That I hope. I really hope that's the case. But saying that, Asaris live for a very, very long time, which was pointed out to me to a friend of the show, Spaged. They live for like 1,000 years, but so this game could potentially take place long before Shepard, or even that trilogy.
Just real quick, Conman said but I guess he's probably just speculating. It's a sequel to the trilogy, by the looks of it. So after the Reaper War, that's I guess speculation.
But we did see the wreckage of that during the trailer, so potentially could be a direct sequel. Jannison, have you played any of the Mass Effect games?
Yeah, so I played through and completed all of them. Years ago, by the way, so remembering specific details is going to be a little fuzzy, but I've played through all of them and completed all of them.
Good stuff. Good.
Yeah, I think my favorite is Mass Effect 2, personally.
Yes. Oh, hands down. Yeah. I mean, Mass Effect 2 story-wise was a heist movie. It was fucking perfect. Did you ever play multiplayer Mass Effect 3?
No, actually, I didn't actually ever go into the multiplayer of Mass Effect 3.
Dude,
Me and Arrow bonded on that game.
Oh my god.
We played so much,
form a
man.
tight bond there?
Yeah, it was a beautiful moment. Us with our widows, our black widows, we were popping off
great.
headshots. Beautiful, beautiful. So, are you looking to get the Mass Effect remaster come next? It's January.
I will likely be getting the remaster. Yeah, I don't think I would call myself a Mass Effect fan, and I would, but again, I've not played them in years. But I think because of that, it's time for a redo. So yeah,
I think you deserve it. You've earned that. So. Good stuff. A lot to look forward to. We'll move on. We've got a bit of a list to run through, so I'll quickly run through those. So, Nier Replicant, which is the prequel to Nier Automata, it's done by Square Enix Toy Logic Inc. It's a prequel to a game that both me and Arrow have bought, played a very little of, but never finished. It's coming April next year. It initially came out in April 2010, so. That's quite interesting. Third-person action adventure. If you guys don't know what it is, it's a very interesting game. It's very unique. It's a Japanese game.
it looks very anime.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I just stop you there? Is anybody else? Arrow has got a really weird skull. Like a red outline skull on his cam. He's went black and white. It's rather disturbing at the minute. It's like
you've been hacked. I think you've been hacked, mate.
I hope not.
I think if you move to your right, Arrow, that red kind of blob is a bit of a it's like a skull.
Come on from Dead Sex hacking it in, dude.
Yeah. What the hell?
Don't freak me out. Don't freak me out, okay? I'm very
fucking red.
thinking about shit like this. Okay.
Maybe we're being hacked.
That Arrow's trying to get the whole Instagram filter going.
Yeah. Are you downloaded what Scott has downloaded, Arrow? You got them Snapchat filters on?
I know. Look, if I did, I'll be doing some fun things with it. But no, let me disconnect and reconnect. Hopefully it sorts it out. I'm back.
No worries.
Carry on.
So, another game to look forward to. I'm quite intrigued by that whole universe of Nier Automata Replicant.
Sorry, he's just left at a really bad pause.
Look at his face. Beautiful. He's a beautiful man. So let's move on because we are running behind. Perfect Dark was finally announced. And this is being made by the Initiative. The Initiative is what was described as a quadruple A studio, which is funny in a way. But when you look at the kind of people,
was this described by themselves? Did they call themselves that?
I would, you know what? It probably was.
That's extraordinarily humble of them. Wow.
I mean, yeah, how dare they? But when you look at the caliber of people who they've brought on to work on that project. Like you got people from, the biggest games, Last of Us, Uncharted, God of War. They all seem to. They're just, they're working at Santa Monica. It's the hotbed of game development, it seems. Mm-hmm. But I love Perfect Dark. Have you guys played the original Perfect Dark games?
Yes. Oh yes.
On 64. Yeah.
N64.
I nearly. Sorry, go on, Adam.
No. I'm just saying. I love the original Perfect Dark. Yeah, N64. Which one was it that we played, Scott? Me, you, and Chris. Oh, was
360.
It
Perfect Dark Zero.
Yeah, Perfect Dark Zero. What a game!
Everything looked like plastic.
Yeah.
So
which is a bit like Cyberpunk.
That was the game. Yeah, like the original Perfect Dark was the game where you had to get your game pack for your N64, that extra 50 fucking quid, and it's run on the same engine as GoldenEye. So got a lot of love for Perfect Dark. I lost a lot of love with Perfect Dark Zero, but I still played a lot of it. I mean, I was too young to know any better. But the finally announced. Well, I don't know what this is. Is it a sequel? Is it a remake? We don't know.
Don't know.
The trailer, it's expressing a lot of. What's the eco sci-fi theme? More futuristic cyberpunk. It's looking quite pretty.
I don't think it doesn't give away. If I remember correctly, the trailer doesn't give away too much. It's more just it is the essence of a teaser. It's like just dangling that carrot, getting you excited for further news about it, sort of thing, right?
Absolutely.
Pretty much.
I didn't know what it was, what game. and I saw that laptop gun on the wall. That gun
That's
shooting
what I
across
thought it was.
laptop.
I was like,
Yeah.
wait, it's Perfect
I was
Dark. I
like,
was like,
Yeah.
what?
this is Perfect Dark. Yeah. And then I
Yeah.
saw the Data Dying logo on the roof. I was like, this is
Yeah.
fucking Perfect Dark. You'll
Uh,
see it in a second. It'll pop up. And then we see Joanna Dark, and I was like, oh my
I
God.
was super surprised. I didn't even think this was in the
No.
works, or this was such a huge reveal for me. I was so surprised.
I'll
my
be honest, I didn't even know what it was until it came up saying like, "Oh, Perfect Dark." I was like, "Oh, fuck, what? Really?"
I mean,
Oh, no, go on. Let's go.
no, you go. I was gonna move on.
No, I was just gonna say I thought it was a hit. I thought it was a Hitman because I saw the gun. I was like, wait, it can't be Hitman in the future, right? Like that'll be different. But no. Then I
was
saw like,
gonna say,
it has to be Perfect Dark.
Yeah, it bring up a good point, because I think it's almost what they were going for, because I do have a quote here, that they were aiming to deliver a secret agent thriller, and there hasn't been that many. I mean, not considering the recently announced James Bond game, of course. That's like a genre that's pretty much died out with James Bond almost. I mean, I suppose Hitman is probably the closest we'll ever come to a game like that. It was the game director Dan Newberger described it as a reinvention of the franchise, saying there really isn't a game out there that's hitting this sort of blockbuster secret agent vision, and who doesn't love secret agent blockbusters, let's be honest. But no release date was announced. It looks quite far out. They have said it's still early in development. They're at least 3 years in, if I recall. That's when the studio was put together, so could be another 3 years, who knows, but I'm here for it. And moving on, we have the next trailer. We have Back for Blood. This is by Turtle Rock, and if you guys recognize the name Turtle Rock, this is the same company that did Evolve. That was like a 4v1 monster.
That was a really good
hunting
game. I really enjoyed that game. Then it just died off so quick.
Because it became the same thing, I guess.
Yeah,
that's what I felt anyway.
Yeah, you can only play. I suppose you can only play it so many times, and it does get boring.
Yeah,
but
I think it was a balancing nightmare. It's but I mean, it's the team is back with their next game, Back for Blood, which the reason probably why, if you're looking at this, you're probably getting a lot of Left 4 Dead vibes. It's because it's the same team that created Left 4 Dead when they worked for Valve. This game looks phenomenal. I've been wanting another Left 4 Dead. I still play Left 4 Dead 2 to this day, and this one looks genuinely quite good. So we've obviously got the small teaser. It's coming June next year, just in time for my birthday. And it's going to be, looking at it, I would probably expect. I mean, we had a bit of a discussion before the stream, me and Aero and I. So we're expecting it's going to be like maybe the same kind of thing you've experienced in Left 4 Dead 2. I don't think they'll stray too much from that theme of reaching the safe house.
From what I saw, it looked very samey.
Yeah. I mean, I play a lot of type of these kind of games, but whereas Arrow doesn't, because we've had discussion in the past about how we approach video games, and I play like mindless zombie shooting games to, after a hard day, you want to vent your frustration out, don't you? And Arrow doesn't really do that. I find it quite therapeutic shooting zombies. So this could be a mindless shooter, but I'm expecting a lot more because the team behind it, of course, created one of my favorite games of all time. But it's looking good. I'm looking forward to it. Have you guys seen the trailer? Have you guys? Well,
I did.
I know you've seen it.
Yeah. This is the first time I've watched it a lot more because I had the Game Awards on in the background the other day. Why playing Tarkov? Of course,
Obviously.
But yeah, looks interesting. Looks very, very good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to gauge the interest of chat here, and Sheriffly, it looks the same as any other. And I get that. I think I see potential.
Yeah.
It is early days, and hey, I like shooting zombies. I don't care.
I think I'm ready for a zombie game, but no, carry on, Jake.
So I was going to say, to me, this looks very, and I think going on from Cherifly and chat, this does look very samey to Left 4 Dead. Not that that's a bad thing, but they can't just give me another Left 4 Dead. If they're going to rebrand it for Back for Blood and everything like that, I mean, they're doing things like, for example, adding different enemies, zombies, monsters, whatever you want to call them. I think they need to go a little step further. If it is literally just a reskin Left 4 Dead, and I think it's going to be, but like updated graphics and maybe a few extra enemies, then it may as well just be Left 4 Dead 3. If they bring something new to the table, they add to it. They give you something a little bit more. Like for example, the weapon. Like there's in the trailer, you see them fighting this big monster thing, and he's using an AK with a sight on it. Maybe they add weapon customization, which I know, actual. So I'm not saying for a second this deep, but one of the best weapon customization games, Escape from Tarkov. I love doing that stuff, building a gun up, all that kind of thing. If you were able to do something like that in this game, I think that would, that would give me that. And maybe you could only find certain attachments throughout the world. Like they need to take it a step further, is my point. And there's ways they can do that. But if they just give us Left 4 Dead 3. Then I think I'm probably going to get it and play it at some point because it is fun. And like you say, that whole thing about therapeutically shooting down zombies, I don't think any game did it better than Left 4 Dead. I think there was something very special about Left 4 Dead being able to do that. I just think that they need to bring their A game with this. And so far from what we've seen, I know we've only seen a trailer, but I'm going to wait until I get more info before I get excited about it, I think.
I think you hit the nail on the head there because I think it's important for the health of this video game that they offer more than just the same experience. And I'm hoping they'll be able to prove that maybe further down the line, because people don't want more the same. I mean, Left 4 Dead, it still holds up to this day, it still feels great, and I kind of hope they bring that to the next iteration, Back 4 Blood, which I thought, was very cheeky. Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood, I quite enjoyed that. But I'm going to remain hopeful. But let's move on. We've got another game which they announced. I've not got a trailer for this one, but I wanted to mention it because it's doing something quite different. So it's called the Hood. Hood, Outlaws and Legends. So it's done by Focus Home Interactive and Sumo Newcastle. So Focus Home, they do a lot of, I wouldn't say AAA games. I would say maybe triple B games, if that's even a term. They the Vampire, which is one of my favorites. Yeah, it is now. And I like the look of this game. It's a medieval multiplayer game. We see 4 people, like you got your traditional roles. But what's different about this is that it's a PvP VE multiplayer heist game. And I find that quite fascinating. Like the ATF crew we've played, like The Hunt in the past, which is a PvPvE game, and we've enjoyed our time with that. This one has a bit of a flair with including heists. So anyone who I don't know what caliber of heist these are, but they need to reach the bar of what GTA offers for this to be sustainable for anyone to spend a lot of time on it, because that's the bar. They've, like GTA 5, they've set the bar for heists. So I'm interested. I love medieval games like this. It's coming May next year. It's coming to the PS4, Xbox One, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. And awesome. If you pre-order, of course, you get early access.
Yeah, this one is, I know want to move on quick, but just a final note from me on this. This did really catch my eye. I think I'm gonna look into this before I pre-order, but I like what I saw. I like what I saw.
Yeah. Same. Yeah, same here. So this next game, the Callisto Protocol. This was another game that I've been wanting for a while. It's made by Striking Distance. Striking Distance is a studio which is created by the PUBG Corporation. We'll touch on that in a second because that's quite interesting. But their new debut game, it's been helmed by, I can't remember his name, Schofield. Basically, he pretty much created, him and his team at Visceral created the Dead Space series. So you guys know how much I love Dead Space. It's another franchise I've been hoping they'd bring back, and this looks like they're aiming to do just that. It's Glenn Schofield, the creator of the Dead Space series. When he worked at Visceral, he also worked at Sledgehammer. He established that studio for Sledgehammer, who we know worked on the Call of Duty franchise. But going back to the Callisto Protocol, this is a single-player, third-person survival horror adventure. So I didn't know what this was until after I saw it, and I was like, I'm getting Dead Space vibes. And there's a reason for it. They're aiming to be one of the scariest games ever made.
Really? Is that a direct quote?
That is the quote. I don't have the quote with me, but that's what they said during. I think it was either after or before they showed this trailer, because Glenn Schofield came on and that's what he said. I might be paraphrasing, but he said the scariest game ever. Expected 2022. Arrow.
What is the scariest game like? And just real quick, that each of you have played single player wise.
Oh God.
I'll start with you, Jake. What has been the scariest game?
So I played a bit of Resident Evil VR around a friend's once.
Oh dear Lord.
Never again. I want to get VR, but when I do, I'm going to not buy that game ever. It was hot. I hated it. Like, no, that was awful.
Yeah.
That's probably what I would, because I've not played VR because the VR version is only on PlayStation. But Resident Evil 7, hands down, the scariest game I've ever played. Like, I've been in a party chat talking to friends when, a fucking wasp lady bursts through a window, scares me to death. And that's probably the last time I probably scared shitless.
For me,
like, I paused the game, turned it off.
Sorry. I thought you were finished there. My bad. No, for me, I thought in VR. Well, for me, we've got me and Scott have got VR, and there's a little indie game, is it Layer of Fears, something like that, where
Layers of Fear.
And there's there's one where you're sitting on the bed. It's just a very, very small game. You do nothing at all. You can play it on the good old snapping mobile VR headset. And you're sitting on a bed and there's a child popping out in different corners. I think it's just because it's in VR headset. It's the scariest game I've played. Plus another one, you're in a corner of a room in an open kind of living room, and there's different clowns that come towards you, etc. in the dark. And that is because if I was playing that in a normal setting on an Xbox with a controller, etc., or a PC, it wouldn't be that scary just because it's in VR. But when it comes to console, I mean, Resident Evil, that's my scariest game for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would recommend that if you want to experience some sort of kind of scary game in VR. I'll see if I can find the exact name for it, but there's a few on there that are real good.
Stuff. What about you, Arrow?
Nah, I'm just gonna keep it quick. Resident Evil 7 for sure. If I had played Outlast before RE7, then maybe it would have been Outlast, but RE7 just literally prepared me for anything at that point. So
it checked all the boxes. Like, Outlast was scary because you're constantly getting chased. Amnesia was scary because they created a very scary atmosphere. Resident Evil 7, the whole fucking shebang, man.
Oh my God.
There's a lot there. But we've still got a lot to talk about, so let's move on, gents. They announced Warhammer 40k Dark Tide, which looks like a sci-fi version of the Vermintide series, which looks quite interesting.
It does look very interesting.
There's like so many.
They went to town.
Warhammer's huge.
This is like, for me. Sorry, you go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. That's all I was going to say. You go.
So for me, like, I'm a massive fan of Warhammer 40k, and I did really like Vermintide as well as a game. I thought it was pretty unique. The feeling, the feel of the game was quite something I've not really had before, and playing it with friends was pretty fun. I did very much enjoy my time with that game. Yeah. I went back to play it solo a while ago, and it didn't really feel the same. I think it was just because I was playing solo. Like it was, I just lost the magic. I will be honest and say I was really looking forward to seeing more of this game, but from what I saw at the Game Awards, I wasn't that impressed. This looks like it looks like it's literally looks and it will feel the same as Vermintide, just with a 40k skin on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the look of the different characters and everything. I was hoping for something a little different because the original trailer was 4 Imperial Guardsmen walking through like a dungeon or whatever. And I was thinking, okay, cool. So maybe you have your own character and you kit him or her out with different armor and weapons. And so, like, similar to, and again, I'm sorry to keep bringing this up, but like Tarkov, you outfit your guy with weapons, gear, armor, whatever, and you go into raid. I was hoping for something similar with that, but it looks like it is literally just a different character, and you can likely level up that character to different tiers and use different weapons. It looks like it's literally just going to be a Vermintide skin at 40k.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably right in that respect. Sadly, when it comes to Warhammer games, it's a mixed bag. You get some gems and you get some stinkers.
Very true.
Dawn of War for me.
until yeah, I mean, there's some peaks. There's some peak there. I mean, you never know what the game's going to be like. I mean, I was looking forward to Space Hulk for such a long time. Space Marine was fucking phenomenal, but you never know what you're going to get. First impressions, I thought were quite positive. Again, I'm a simple person. I like to shoot things. So, another game. Moving on. We knew this would be at the show. It was announced. We know Sheriff Fly was looking forward to this. Dragon Age 4. So, BioWare their presence was felt for sure. The picture we've got in our run of brief is basically a guy, he's leaning back, he's taking a sip from his little goblet, and in the background is a castle. And I thought, is that fucking Disneyland or something? That's cool.
It does look like it, right?
That does. Actually, now you've said that, wow.
Hogwarts.
It does look like it.
One of the two.
Fucking Hogwarts, yeah. I mean, my reaction to this trailer was quite negative, and I was unfortunately I was a bit of a. I kind of dampened the spirit of Sheriff Light on Twitter. Unfortunately, I was a bit of a twat, and I apologise because she was looking forward to it, and I might have ruined it. So I'm so sorry. It was very short. I expected more. That was it. It was a teaser. No actual gameplay. They did confirm that Varric and Solus is back. Anyone who's played Dragon Age from 2 onwards know who they are. Very important characters. New hero confirmed. Varric said during the trailer, no magic hand or no ancient prophecy. So no magic hand related to the recent Inquisition, the no ancient prophecy related to the Assassin's Creed Origins, because they were very, very heavy in that story. So a nod to the previous heroes. They mentioned the enemies that are returning. Demons have always been a big thing. Dragons, of course. Darkspawn, and a certain Dreadwolf. We'll leave it that there. So there's no mention of a release window. It's just called Dragon Age at this point. Stupidly hyped. Love me some Dragon Age. And we'll move on from there. Another game which was announced.
I wasn't expecting this.
This was the most jarring trailer I have seen. Adam, I want to let you talk about this one.
Well, I'm a little bit of a fan of...
You'll see why, chat.
Orc. When this got announced, I was in a stream on the forest with Authentic. And obviously, I had it on in the background, but I wasn't watching at the time. And Sheriff Fly came bursting in the stream saying, Orc 2, Orc 2, Orc 2. And then I had to just kind of stop everything, flick over. I think Authentic got a bit mad at me there because I flicked over the screen because I had to watch it. I'm a big Ark fan. So this is just a cinematic trailer. They did this similar thing to Ark 1, where they released a cinematic trailer just to kind of give you the kind of what the game is about, basically. But I did see it looks like you've just seen there a new kind of species on the map, like a humanoid species, which is amazing. It's now starring Vin Diesel in this game, so it looks like it's going to be more of a storyline involved there, and I'm really interested with the storyline. There was a slight storyline in Ark 1, but it was more notes, and nobody reads the notes. Nobody went around the map, and yes, you got experience, etc., but nobody read them. I didn't. I mean, if you found one, fantastic. You got a big boost of experience. And yeah, so hopefully there's more of a storyline. There is obviously, again, there's a lot of caves you can go exploring. Hopefully you can kind of put them into the story. Again, you just see in the trailer there, T-Rex comes out of nowhere, and T-Rex just owns until you come up against a Giga. But again, yeah, this is, mine, Sheriff Flies, Authentics, Witches, kind of all-time favourite game. We're always playing this. We've got a server. A little bit of a plug there, for our subscribers. We have a Steam Arc server. If anybody wants to join.
Very good friends of the ATF community.
Yeah, ATF. So yeah, this was a big shock. Again, they also got an Arc the animated series coming out. It's an origin story. So a cast of stars was also shown, with Madeleine McMadan, Michelle Yeoh, Jared Butler, Jeffrey Wright, David Tennant. Ellie Page, Carl Urban, Russell Crowe's in there, Vin Diesel, all making appearances. So that is that's very, very interesting. Very interesting.
I said to Nuns before the show that I don't think I realised until I saw that cast how big Ark is as a franchise, because that's some
huge.
very, very big names.
I'm concerned that they're putting all of their money into the big names.
I was just going to say, they have enough money to make this?
Yeah, like, they've paid all these people. Now they've got like £10 to pay the camera crew and the writers. And,
But who?
that's my only concern.
If it's going on
I
Netflix,
swear to God, if Vin Diesel doesn't stand there and go, "This is Arc 2," like in Fast and Furious, I want a refund.
Oh Lord. There's still, obviously, we've not seen the gameplay. These are just to whet your appetite. Yeah. So, I mean, I mentioned before the show that they have been, like, the Reddit subreddit for Ark is just on fire right now. There's people who aren't very happy because they're looking to not abandon, but move on from the current games. I mean, there's a good and bad side in terms of that, because they've been very vocal about the technical engine behind Ark, how it's not quite modern, it's quite old, getting on a bit. So
yeah, I remember the first time in beta. Holy shit, I was on Xbox One. Holy shit, that was a long time ago.
The first Ark was the first game I put down because it made me feel ill playing on game preview on Xbox. The frames, it was awful. It was in a bad state. Of course, it's going to be better on PC. But it's interesting. Anyone who's a fan, you've got something to look forward to there. And lastly, in fact, no, we've got a little bit more. So Returnal was announced. This is by Housemarque, PlayStation Studios. I mentioned this one because if anyone's heard of this, picture Mass Effect Andromeda. The gameplay looked very reminiscent of that. Similar. It was like you're seeing lots of like orbs on like bullets, almost fire. You're getting fired upon. It's like a bullet. It reminds me of a bullet hell kind of game. You're just getting bombarded, kind of like the Neo Automata games. But this, like I mentioned, is a third-person psychological horror shooter. We get a lot of those. Set in a futuristic science fiction setting, equipped with a suit and armed with high-tech weapons. Oh, lovely. On an alien world set in a time loop. So Arrow mentioned something interesting before the show, that we might suspect that this is a roguelike. Am I
correct? I always get confused whether it's roguelite or roguelike, because I know there's a difference.
I'm the same. I'm glad you said that, because I'm exactly the same.
No, I'm never gonna even try and pretend like, it's rogue. No, I always get it confused. But I know from what I understand is that similar to Hades is you get one run. If you die, you start all over again. Now, that's what I believe this game is. I might be wrong. Don't quote me. But that to me is going to be very interesting. Yeah.
The time loop aspect is quite intriguing. But from what I've seen so far, it's obviously being done by PlayStation Studios. Of course, it'll be exclusive to the PlayStation console, but it's one that caught my eye. I want to talk about.
It's really interesting.
Quite interesting. So, of course, there were other games. There's so many games that were announced and revealed during the show. It Takes Two caught my eye.
Yeah.
That's a co-op game that's made for couples. It seems like looks fucking brilliant. Oddworld, Soulstorm, Elder Scrolls Online, Gates of Oblivion, Elite Dangerous, Odyssey. They showed off the first gameplay, which I'm fucking stoked for.
Yes, so am I.
And Crimson Desert, which is Maven Sapien behind Black Desert.
Good.
So
there's also one that I wanted to mention when I saw Century: Age of Ashes.
The
Dragon game.
The dragon one, yeah. Which that looked kind of interesting. I don't know how it looks a little janky, but I'm wanting to learn more about that. I mean, Crimson Desert and Age of Ashes is something both those I'm going to look at for sure.
Yeah. And that caught my eye as well until I saw it was like a PvP game, and those kind of games.
Scott doesn't like PvP.
I've always dropped off them pretty quickly. No, I just lost my competitive edge unless it's Halo. I
think it's just age. That's not Halo. It's just age.
Oh man, I'm still good. Look at the Let's Play community event we did. I kicked ass. Ask Mr. Elite Assassin. He knows all about the ass kick, and then I whooped out. I dealt that day. And you, Arrow.
Moving on.
So yes, that's it for me. So I'm going to quickly just wrap up the notable stories, and I'll pass it over to Nuns and Moses for that.
Yeah, some notable stories this week. So we have Knights of the Old Republic 2 coming to mobile on the 18th of December. Prince of
Legendary
Persia,
game.
it is. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, delayed until the 13th
No, not like
of
this.
March. Final Fantasy VII's, coming to Smash Bros. What's that? I can't even pronounce that name. Sephiroth.
Sephiroth.
Coming to
Sephiroth.
Smash
Oh, boy.
Bros. Ultimate this December. Forza Horizon 4 gets Cyberhunk gets a Cyberhunk. He's real hunky. Gets Cyberpunk 2077 car DLC free, which I wouldn't mind checking out. That'd be quite good. I've recently just re-downloaded Forza on the Series X because how brilliant it kind of loads up now. It's a total different game now. Microsoft Flight Simulator will launch for Xbox Series X/S in summer 2021, which is very interesting. Gears 5 Hive Busters coming December 15th on Xbox Play Anywhere and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. I'm looking forward to Xbox Play Anywhere. That's going to be a game changer. So, moving on to the best part of the show, everybody thinks, is the free games. PlayStation Plus for December is Worms Arena for PS4 and PS5, Just Cause 4, and Rocket Arena. Then Games with Gold for December is Swim Sanity, available till December the 15th. Just double checking the date. I couldn't remember what date it was. The Raven Remastered is December the 1st till December the 31st. Bleed 2, December 16th till January the 15th. Saints Row, Gat Out of Hell, December the 1st till December the 15th.
Yeah.
Good wording there. Stacking, December the 16th to December the 31st. And then free with Epic Games Store. Epic Games Store for me, it's brilliant. I love Epic Games Store. Pillars of Eternity, the definitive edition, is free until the 17th of December. RPGs. So you haven't got long left for that. Tyranny, Gold Edition, is free until the 17th again. So make sure you snap them free games up on Epic Games Store. They'll not be there for long. Then Xbox Game Pass, and these are just the headliners. Headliners are Among Us, Code Vein, and Man of Medan. But there is plenty more, and again, the screen is always too small for me. My Friend Pedro, The Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, Beholder, Code Vein, Neoverse. I'm just not even going to read them all. We need to move on.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Just quickly, have you guys covered the EGS 15 Days of Christmas or something that they're doing?
I haven't.
No.
It's not Epic?
It's Epic, yeah. I think. So in Epic, the Epic Store, they're doing from the 17th. So I think when these guys, when Pillars of Eternity and Tyranny go off on the 17th, from the 17th, you can get a game free for 24 hours every single day. So I think you can get... so a game a day, essentially, you can get for free. And apparently the list is very good. So keep your eyes on the EG or Epic Game Store from the 17th of December, because you can get some you will likely be able to get some very good games free.
Thank you very much for that. I didn't realise that. Thank you very much.
No, that never caught my eye. I mean, I remember seeing that back when the iPhones first came out, because they did a similar thing. It might have been a few years after the release, I don't remember, but I remember getting like an app a day, and it was quite good. But yeah, I mean, that's Game Pass, man.
Yeah, Game Pass.
There's a lot of fucking coming to Game Pass.
Man of Medan was surprised to see on Game Pass, I will be honest.
What was that? Sorry,
Man of Medan. Surprised to see that on Game Pass. Yeah.
If only, like me and Aero went through that on stream.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't buy games. Everybody, do not buy games anymore. Just get Game Pass. It'll be on there eventually.
I would have saved so much money this year already. But yes, that's it from us. Let's start wrapping this show up, because we have been going on over 2 hours now. So just let's get the announcements out the way. This week we have our Overwatch Let's Play. So that'll be beginning 19th of December. That's a Saturday. We'll be doing that at 6 p.m. GMT. So if anyone who has Overwatch on console, hit us up. We'll be playing together. We'll be kicking Arrow's ass. I'll be playing as Genji. to make himself out, it'll be great. So jump in. We'll play some customs. We'll have a laugh.
Ooh, that'll be
but
good.
yes,
Good laugh.
finally. Look at his face.
Vincent says Arrow sucks at Overwatch. We all kind
I
of
think the
know
person who
that.
doesn't know that is Arrow.
We're gonna have enough time. Let's move on.
We could have a stream just bashing Arrow, and it's fine.
These Let's Plays are all down to kind of who wants to teabag Arrow the most. That's what I find. These Let's Plays are all about.
Weird, thing with teabag. I don't know what that is like. I don't understand. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, we won't go too much into that. We'll save that for the stream. But hopefully, you guys in chat will be able to join us. Do like some Overwatch. But let's wrap things up now. So, Adam, what are you playing, streaming, watching, and where can people find you?
I've just been, when it comes to series, I think watching wise, I am again Mandalorian. It's just blown me away, the series. Again, I'm not going to say anything really in regard to spoilers, but if anybody isn't watching it and like Star Wars, please watch it. Fully recommend that show.
You say us a favour and watch it.
You should watch it for sure.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Arrow, are you up to date yet?
I just missed. I missed one more
Friday.
that came out this week. So,
yeah, absolutely fantastic. Again, I've just been rewatching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I just think that's a fantastic series. I'll watch it. I tend to watch a couple of episodes just before I go to bed. Playing wise, I'm picking up on the old Tarkov. So now I have a new teammate who is in this lobby right now. It's gonna get real. It's gonna get good. So again, a lot of Tarkov.
I will tell you right now, I'm a really good distraction. I'm really good at being a distraction.
The thing is, that's what I used to be. That's my role. So I'm glad I can pass it on to somebody else, and I can kind of climb the ranks a bit, Anyways, but yeah, Tarkov is. Again, I didn't put this in the run-up show. It was something that I was going to put in today's show, which is the Streets of Tarkov update. The new trailer that's just been announced. That should be coming soon, and it's getting so close to the wipe. I'm just trying to use. I've accumulated loads of weapons, and I wouldn't say money. Not a lot of money, but a lot of weapons and a lot of armor that I just need to use. I'm too scared to use them and go out because I don't want to lose them at the same time. But I've got to. I've got to. I've got over that fear now, and I've got to just go out and start using the stuff. Because again, it's getting so close to wipe the next update. So yeah, I'm going to be playing. I need to finish off the Plague Tale again with work, etc. And by the time I get in with work, I haven't been able to stream much. Again, the Cyberpunk.
Busy time of year.
Yeah, so I'm not 100% on the schedule, but again, I'm trying my best to do Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. It hasn't been happening over the past few weeks, so just keep looking at the Discord, and I'll post in there when I go live.
Just watch Jannison28. You'll be fine.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Don't worry about us.
So yeah, you can catch me on twitch.tv/Nuns and Moses and Twitter @nunsandmoses_live. The Moses has a 0 instead of an O.
Good stuff. So yeah, guys, check him out. You'll love his art gameplay. It's had me in stitches a lot. So, Aero, in fact, what are you playing, streaming, watching? You're a busy man.
Playing. So we finished Her Story, and we finished. What was the game again? I remember the game. The Complex. Yes, it was an interactive movie game. It's pretty cool. So everybody, myself, and everybody in chat and stream, we pretty much played it together and we finished it. It was really, really interesting. And then this coming week, I have another interesting game lined up. So it's going to get pretty spicy, I should say. Spicy. And Beyond Two Souls, that's true. Thank you for coming. So in terms of what I'm watching, just the usual Mando. I need to catch up with Mando. I think Jannison is going to do a watch party on Discord, so I'm going to check that out there. And then usual anime, Jujutsu Kaisen, Nobilis, Haikyuu, and then of course Attack on Titan. But I don't think they've released a new episode yet. And Payday. Yes, we played Payday yesterday. It was great.
Hold on.
Payday 2.
You-
Yeah, play Payday 2.
I've been trying to get to play that game for years, and you go and play it without me.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
if you want to catch me
Borderlands 2 all
on...
over again. Isn't it?
Ooh, Arrow, you in trouble?
Okay.
Look, dude, I was on and I saw you playing Doom. I was like, I'm gonna let you know. My buddy played Doom. Go hammer there. I don't want to disturb him, so that's why. But yes, if you want to catch me, if you want to catch me on Twitch, it's A_R_O. I'm on Monday to Saturdays. Friday and Saturdays we do our community games. Monday to Thursdays where we play some interesting story games. So feel free to check me out there. And if you want to check me out on Instagram and Twitter, I am at A_R_O_2NG. Just feel free to.
If you just type in underscores, like 3 underscores, you'll probably find him.
So yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Good stuff. So, of course, we have a special guest, Jannison28. I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out to join us on this show. Absolute pleasure. And what are you playing, streaming, watching, and where can people find you?
Well, first off, thank you for inviting me. This has been awesome. Massive thank you to you guys and to the viewers in chat. Hopefully you haven't found me waffling on about my opinions and stuff too boring. But anyway, so yeah, right now we are playing Metro Exodus. We are a good portion of the way through, I believe over halfway. So if you want to see the culmination of that, then we are slowly working towards the ending. So hopefully catch you for that. I normally stream on twitch.tv/Jannison28 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday evenings, and over the weekends as and when I can, normally as long as possible, but life sometimes gets in the way. Twitter is just Jannison28. You can find all my socials there, from Instagram, which doesn't have much but a couple of kitten pictures, my YouTube, and obviously Twitch and everything. Discord as well. Watching right now, obviously, Mandalorian. Big show. Everyone's enjoying The Mandalorian. And for those in chat who are interested, I will be watching the most recent episode of The Mandalorian on my Discord. So if you want a chance to come and view it with everybody, join the Discord, come join the watch party section, watch the stream through Discord, and use the discussions chat for just talking to each other. And we can sit there and nerd out together. And that'll be later on, straight after this. So
Awesome.
Fantastic. That's what it's all about, nerding out together. That's what I like to hear.
It is. That's why I joined Twitch.
Yeah, we've definitely we've created. I say we've created the small community of like-minded people. So there's always somebody out there who has similar interests. So big love to Jannison. Thank you again for joining us.
thank you guys.
We have been Above the Folds. You can find us on Twitter and YouTube at AboveTheFold_1. We can't escape the underscores, guys. I'm very sorry about that. You can also connect with us on our Discord group, our community. The link is just down there somewhere. Have a nosy about for it. And another shout out to Hargit. He will be doing his 24-hour stream for reaching.
Yeah, correct.
So, and yeah, that's. I mean, what am I missing? I'm missing myself.
Wait, I was gonna say, you haven't told the people where they can find you, what you're up to, man. Tell them.
I always forget that. Bit. But I'll make this quick. Playing, I've just blitzed through Borderlands 3 and all the expansions. That has been bloody amazing. Again, I'm jumping into. I played a bit of Cyberpunk. Put that down. I'm now playing Doom Eternal's expansion. I'm currently watching a show called Blind Spot on TV, which I've not seen before. Caught my eye. If anyone knows Sif from Thor, it's her TV show. She was one of
really?
Yeah, she's very very hot in this. She's all tattooed up, man. It ticks all the boxes for me. And it happened to be a very good TV show at the same time, so I'm a winner there. Streaming wise, I'm unpredictable at the moment. Life is chaotic. This time of year is just too much for me, but I will be jumping on. I'll be letting you guys know on Twitter, and I want to continue with some more Ghost Runner because that game is amazing. So yeah, you can find me at on twitch.tv/neondemon4 and on Twitter is at neon_demon4. So thank you so much everyone in chat, Showfly, Yeah, God, there's so many.
Oh,
It's been saying so. I'll be here all
Thank
day
you
if I missed it, but
Thank you so much, everyone.
thank you.
Super
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Appreciate
and
it,
thanks
guys.
for sticking with us for 2 hours and almost 15 minutes.
Whew.
So
A big thank you to Jake.
From Nuns, from Arrow, from Jannison, I'm Scott Neon Demon, and this is episode 28 Above the Folds. Take care.
Goodbye.